Okay, we're nearly at 5 past, so let's make a start. So welcome. So this is the question and answer session for professional registration. I'm Emma Wright. I'm AFA's Director of Professional Development. So I oversee the Professional Development Committee and obviously the registration and assessment process. I've got Andrew here with me as well. Andrew, do you want to give yourself a quick intro?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So, Andrew Barraclough, Director of Skills Development at AFA, so I'm Deputy Chair of the Professional Development Committee alongside Emma.
Lovely. So we've got quite a small group today, so we'll try and keep it as interactive as possible so you can get the most out of the session. As I said, it's a question and answer session, so it's kind of designed for you to bring any sort of questions or queries that you might have with the application process, so we can offer you some support and any guidance that you might need before the submission window closes at the end of the month. We do often have people on who haven't done sort of an overview session of the registration process. So have we got anybody on the call who would appreciate a quick whistle-stop tour of the overview before we go into the Q&A session? Yeah, Chinwe. Yeah,
Hi.
so, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I actually did miss the session. I will appreciate if I can get an overview. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, please. Same as myself.
Brilliant. That's fine. So we can do a quick overview. Andrew's got some slides in the waiting in the wings.
Do you want to just bring those up? Well. So good afternoon, everyone. So yeah, I'll just give you a quick run through of what professional registration is all about and what hopefully you're signing up to take forward. So we do professional registration in AFA under the auspices of the Federation of Informatics Professionals. So that's the umbrella organization that a range of different professional bodies sit underneath that. So FedIP itself isn't a membership body, but it is the registration body and the public register. And you can go on to the FedIP public register and see that Emma and other colleagues, such as myself, are on there when you go through the registration process. FedIP sets the generic registration standards that then different bodies like BCS, the British Computer Society, and AFA uphold. So we then take those generic standards and apply them to the world of data and healthcare analysis. So we're a membership organization for data professionals. We are licensed by FedIP to register. We have to use those generic standards, follow various quality assurance and common processes that they use. So we hopefully offer this unique selling point of being this registration route for analysts. We do tailor the generic standards then that we take from FedIP to match the world of data and analysis in healthcare. And it's overseen by the Professional Development Committee that Emma chairs. So why would you want to do this? Well, we think it's a way of you demonstrating your skills, your competencies, and your commitment at any stage of your career. You could just be starting out, or you could be very experienced. It is a degree of independent validation of your skills, knowledge, and ability. And we're validating those skills regardless of academic history. If you've got relevant qualifications, that's great. That should get you a long way into this, providing then you can demonstrate experience of having applied those. So it is that independent indication of competency and credibility that hopefully can help you in your career, within your progression, in your organization, and future opportunities that you might take up. So what you need to do, you need to have a think about, well, where do you start from? What is the level of skills and experience that you've got? And therefore, which level of professional registration might you apply for? We've got another one as well, the associate practitioner rather, which is about demonstrating your interest in taking things further. But these 4 levels are the levels of professional registration that get you onto the full journey to professional registration. So from practitioner, senior practitioner, advanced practitioner, or leading practitioner, and just make sure that you use the latest documents that you've got, and you can find those on our website. And now we're increasingly using things through the FedIP hub as well. So if you go to this page on the AFA site, it will then take you through those links as well into the FedIP hub that we've begun to use to hopefully streamline the process. So we hopefully there give you the relevant guidance that you need, some examples of the reflective practice, and then go on to the click here to apply to get the application forms. So which level? We deliberately don't put specific NHS AFC bands here because we know that different organizations can use different job titles, different bandings. But if you have a look at these broad descriptions of the levels of roles, so it's about where are you in your career? It's about the level of responsibility that you have for your own work, how you set direction of that. Do you have a team? Do you have a service working to you? And there's a good read across as well into the National Competency Framework and the way that it will talk about the levels, which are based on the kind of levels that we've got here, which come from the FedIP. So you'll see some common descriptions there. So hopefully reading these kind of descriptions, hopefully talking to people in your organization if they've been through this process, have a look at the National Competency Framework for data professionals as well, and hopefully you'll have a good sense of where might be appropriate. But also you can drop us a line and we'd happily advise as well. So choose your level of registration, select some of the major pieces of work that you've done that you think will be great for the reflective practice, because that's a great place to start. If you do at least 3 of those reflective practice pieces based on some substantial work, hopefully you'll be able to demonstrate a lot of the standards and combine the evidence to tell the story of how you demonstrate professional competency. Then compile your evidence and submit. So what does a reflective practice piece look like? It follows this kind of format. So the STAR framework here, which is a situation, the tasks, the actions, and the results. And hopefully this is a way of you being able to tell a story of some analytical work. So rather than coming up with a lot of separate items, you can take something big, various kind of bits of work that you've done in recent years, tell us what the overall situation was, the tasks you did, the specific actions you undertook then, and what you got from that. And also you see there, the blue items are where you've got the evidence that links to that particular part of this reflective practice, and the P1.3, etc. In this case, the small items in red are the links to the specific substandards. So through this, you can tell that story and you can link it back exactly to the standards themselves. And then there's also the second part of this reflective practice is answering these questions to make it that reflective. So what went well, what went less well, what did you learn, what would you do differently next time? And for these kind of things, it's entirely appropriate if you've got a piece of work that didn't go as well as you'd hoped. Well, that can be a fantastic learning experience, and they can be great to put here, because this is about just saying, I did something, I can describe what that was, but maybe you learned a lot from it and there's a lot you'd take to do differently next time. They can be great pieces of work as well. So it doesn't just have to be things that went really, really smoothly, things that then got you a poster or a presentation at a conference. It could be things that you learned a lot from. We then have an application form as well, and that's standard kind of things that you'd expect. Just tell us about what role it is, so we can just check that you are working in a relevant role. Anything that you want to tell us about, published papers, etc., because they can be great things as context, and there may be things then that you refer to as evidence as well. Any relevant qualifications can give us that context, and then just tell us a little bit about the roles that you've got, so we can just understand where you're sat within an organization. Key thing then is the evidence matrix in the form. So this takes all the individual standards we've got, what's the evidence that you've provided, and it'd be good to see a range of evidence against all of those substandards, and then tick the boxes where you've got those reflective practice pieces that link to those standards. And great if you've got 1, 2, 3 bits of reflective practice for each of those standards, but we know in some cases that won't necessarily be possible. So if you haven't covered one of those standards through the reflective practice piece, then you can tell us a little bit more in the application form itself. So here, under the different standards, we've got the relevant substandards that we ask you about. Give us a commentary, which can be a couple of lines about which is the relevant part of the reflective practice. Make sure you link it to that reflective practice piece 1, 2, 3, etc. What's the evidence? So all the time we're just doing that read across, and we can see that you've demonstrated in reflective practice, you've got the evidence. If you haven't got the reflective practice piece, that's fine. Just give us a commentary here in a little bit more depth to give us a couple of examples for each of those substandards. We now do things through the FedIP hub. So the link that you saw on the AFA will take you to this FedIP hub, which is where then you request access. You will get access to that, and then that gives you a way of being able to get the relevant forms and upload those. So the actual application, the reflective practice, and the evidence that you're using, and then that streamlines things for you, streamlines things for us. We can see what's coming through and approve on that basis. You can also give us commentary there if there's something that you need to tell us. It could be that there's a piece of evidence that you're not able to share for reasons of IG, for example. You can just describe that there, and then we can find out different ways of how you can still use that. It could be, for example, that you do a presentation. So we don't have that evidence, but you can still demonstrate to us that it's part of your application, or there may be something else there that you want to tell us. So there's a place to do that. And we now run it in these 4 windows during the year. So at the moment we're in one of those registration, we're clearly in that Q&A workshop. So we run this during the year, and it's to help you know when to apply. It's to help us have a smooth process at our end so that we can take it through the Professional Development Committee, give it to assessors, take it back to sign off. So hopefully that is a quick run through of some of the key things just to get you going. And obviously, please come up with any further questions now.
Thanks, Andrew. I've just noticed a few bits in the chats around sharing the slides, and yeah, we can do that, and we can get them published on the AFA website as well. So we've got those. So any questions from anyone? I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat. Yes, Monica.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monica Freeman. I currently work in Cleveland Clinic, London as a data and health informatics lead. I am a nurse by background. I got the AFA membership for the Future Leaders FedIP bursary. So as a part of cohort 3. However, I am not sure which level I am assigned into because I was just sent like an activation email. How would I know which level I'm in, or should I go through the registration process so that it can be assessed which appropriate level should be applied to myself?
So firstly, congratulations on receiving the bursary. So your AFA membership is separate to your registration. So we have, I think, can we be just over 1,000 members now within AFA, but still at the moment a relatively small number of members that are actually on the professional register. So I think we're probably touching about 60 members. So in terms of the level that you wish to apply at, as Andrew said, just have a look at those sort of broad sort of criteria from either practitioner up to leading practitioner, and try to get a feel of, you know, where your role will land. One thing that is important to note is that whichever level you apply for, you do need to meet the criteria right across those levels. So if you only meet, say, 60% of the senior practitioner, but your other 40% is still at practitioner level, then do apply for the practitioner level, because you do have to evidence overall all of those standards. We have got a guidance document on the website, which I think Lizzie's just dropped the link to in the chat, which kind of talks you through which levels and what the difference is in terms of the criteria for those levels, but hopefully that will give you enough information to see where you land. And as Andrew mentioned earlier, we've also got an associate practitioner level. So if you're relatively new into sort of analytics and sort of data environment within healthcare, then the associate practitioner can also be a good place to start, which then starts you on that journey of, you know, building up your skills and competencies to then enable you to apply at a practitioner level in a couple of years' time. Is that helpful? I think you're on mute. It's all right.
Yeah, so for the registration, so Fed IP provided it. However, I will need to apply for the level that is appropriate for me, correct?
That's right, yeah.
All right, let me get started this evening then. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Who's next? Yes, Chinwe. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes,
Oh,
you're.
good.
Thank you. All right, so I understand my organization. I was registered with my organization. Now, talking about the membership, is it on individual basis? Will I need to pay for it? And what else will be required? And secondly, what of someone who has got a postgraduate degree, but looking at this career, the person is just starting on this career, and most of those competencies might have been covered during the postgraduate studies. What would you advise in that situation? Because this person is just starting on starting on a low level in the career, but during the postgraduate study, a lot of these competencies might have been covered. Thank you.
Okay, so if I take the membership question first, so your membership to AFA is separate to the registration. So the registration, although it's provided through AFA, it's from FedIP, so the Federation of Informatics Professionals in Health and Care, and that's done on an individual basis because that's about your place on the professional register, and it is a separate fee, and that's currently £25 per year. So that's on top of your AFA membership. So you may have an organisational membership with AFA where your organisation pays for your AFA membership, but there's still then a requirement if you wish to be professionally registered and on that FedIP register, there's an extra fee of £25 a year to support that registration process. So in terms of your other question about your postgraduate qualifications, but kind of coming in as an entry level. So professional registration is about how you put your skills and competencies into practice. So you may have an academic qualification which meets a certain level of competencies, but professional registration is what you currently practice within your existing role. So it may be that if you're relatively new into the data and analytics profession, you may need to start at a sort of practitioner or senior practitioner level, as that will be sort of the level of autonomy and skills that you'll be working within at this moment in time. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? You can see Andrew dropping some stuff into the chat. So.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay.
So just to drop the picture from the National Competency Framework, which is different. So it's an associated thing, isn't it? That's about the competencies, we're about the professional registration. But in the way that they've mapped across to various kind of job descriptions and various kind of bandings, and having said that there isn't a perfect match, that can give you an indication, can't it, of if you're at the very early stage of your career, go for the practitioner. If you're leading a whole service or department, then go for the leading practitioner. And then it depends where you are on your journey between that. If you've had a couple of years experience, then go for the senior practitioner. Maybe if you're then leading a team or you're more experienced, go for the advanced. So I think that's a useful kind of compare and contrast, isn't it? It's not a perfect match because it's a slightly different thing, but it's set up to map onto the levels of registration that we've got anyway. So it can be a useful part of just helping maybe where to start.
Monica, do you want to come back in?
So, since I'm already registered in Fed IP, do I still need to pay the 25?
I would check the situation for
Yeah,
recipients of the bursary. But no, I can check that for you and come back to you.
Thank you so much. Because I was trying to like explore the site and register. Now it says you're committing to paying 25 on top
Yeah.
of the Fed IP, etc. And thank you so much, Andrew. That was a really useful screenshot. However, it's quite low res, but I can make up band 8, band 9, etc. So thank you so much.
Do we have any more questions? It's probably just worth saying that the NCF is a really good place to start. And if you kind of consider what's in the NCF as the tools that you've got within your toolbox, but your professional registration is about that you can safely use those tools. So that's the kind of differentiation between the two. Okay, we got a question from
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I know my name is a bit difficult to pronounce. It's Bhuvana. I work for a company called Smart Life Health, which is a private company, and we also work with NHS companies, surgeries, and we work on building various tools and products for them. I'm a AI engineer, and my question was, what kind of projects are considered as analysis projects, and do AI projects also come under this?
Absolutely, yes. So we try to be as broad as possible across that sort of data and analytics roles and professions. So we have applications from people who are more on the sort of visualization area, people who are more on the data engineering side of roles. So absolutely, as an AI engineer, then yes, I'm sure some of the items of work that you have and the projects you've worked on will be equally as relevant for professional registration.
Sure, thank you. Just another question. I don't lead a team, but I do work on the entire project. So would that be considered as a senior level, or would I just start at the first level?
Yeah, so you can access all of the levels without necessarily having to lead teams. It is about your sort of level of skill and competency, and the levels kind of progress around sort of what level of autonomy that you have within your own work area. So not necessarily a prerequisite to be leading teams to move to the sort of senior, advanced and leading practitioner status. But if you have a look at the which level of registration link that Lizzie put in the chat earlier on, that will give you an idea of what sort of level that you should be pitching at.
Sure. Thank you. So is there anyone we can kind of consult before actually putting in the form? Is there someone we can show what we have put down and anyone can advise us?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're looking to submit in this application window, then you're probably a bit tight for time in that respect, because we're looking to close for applications at the end of July. We will open another application window at the beginning of October, and we'll run another session like this during that month, where you can either come along and share what you've done so far. Alternatively, you can email us. So our email address is on our website. I think it's info@AFANalists. So we're happy to offer any advice and guidance offline. So your email will either come to myself or Andrew or one of the other assessors, and we can kind of make sure that you're heading in the right direction with what you've submitted. And we do that for a number of applicants.
Right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Any other questions? No? Okay. I said we'll share the slides and we'll get them onto the website as well. And if you wanted to listen back either to this session or any of the previous sessions that we've run, they're all there on our YouTube channel. So I'll pop the link in the chat for that. But otherwise, good luck with your applications. We look forward to receiving them soon. And as I say, please reach out to us if you do have any other queries or questions, because we're keen to get as many people from the data and analytics profession on that professional registration as we possibly can. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your afternoons.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.